Welcome to this very tutorial where I'll be showing you how to create a social media design. Now, not just any social media design, but a social media design that pops, a social media design that is captivating, that has a captivating visual. You understand? So, without too much talk, let's get right into it. So, the first thing I'm going to do is to create a background. Just to drag in. First thing I'm going to do is create a background for our design so that the rest of our elements can sit on it. Alright, so that being said, what I like to do first is to just create a very blank layer, or a very blank color. I could leave it on white or black depending on what I'm going for. And then next thing I'll do is go to my resource files and then click and drag this to my artboard on Photoshop, just like so. And then what I'm going to do is scale it up like this, just like this, and then I'm going to click on enter. So next thing I'm going to do after having this imported to my 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 artboard is to make it a little bit darker. Now I can do that in two ways, but I'm going to do, I love a little bit of control over whatever elements I'm working on, so I'll just show you one way you can actually have control over what you want to do. But before we get right into that, the first thing or the next thing we are going to do next is to bring in the logo we'll be using for this particular design. So I'll just go to my files and then I'm going to drag in this particular logo I created for the purpose of this tutorial. And then I'm going to just make this bigger and place it right here, just like so. Then I'll reduce it a bit and place it right here. Alright, so this is good. So that'll be done, and that being said, next thing I want to do is add my text. So I'm just going to hit T on my keyboard, that is shortcut for your text too. And then I'm just going to change the font. So I'm just going to increase the size of the font and change the font to Montserrat. I'm going to click on Montserrat extra bold, and then I'm going to write something as simple as this, which will be our main copy. So in every social media design, you have to have your main copy, your sub copy, and a call to action, which is your CTA. Now, if you're working with any organization, any firm, and they ask for a social media design and they don't provide these things or they don't specify these things, it's your duty as a designer to just let them know, ask them which is the main copy, which is still sub copy, and which is the CTA, the call to action in this case. So having typed in what I want to do, all I have to do is select everything and then go to my properties, and then I'm just going to crank up the spacing so that I can have everything visible, just like this. And after having this all done, I'm just going to drag this up quite a bit, leave it around here. So I might still adjust this one later depending on what I'm going for, just like this. And then right underneath this particular layer, I'm going to click on this. I'm going to click on my shape tool or my ellipse tool. I'm going to right click and select a rectangle. So I'm just going to click and drag across my line. And after doing that, I'm going to change the stroke color. I'm going to turn it off and then turn on the fill color to white, just like so. And I'm going to just click and drag this knot right here to make it have a rounded edge, to have the rectangle have a rounded edge, just like so. And then I'm going to come back here and drop the opacity to around, let's say around 25, or something not really visible as it were, just like that. so that we have this, overlaid on top of the background. So that being done, what I want to do is double click on this particular rectangle layer, and then I'm just going to add in a little bit of shadow to pull it out from the background. So I'm going to come to drop shadow, click on it, and then I'm just going to come right here to mess around with my parameters like so. I'm going to crank up the size. So let me crank up the opacity so that we can see what we're working with. And I'm just going to leave the blend mode to normal, just like so. Then crank up the spread again, just like this. And then so you can see the shadow on my artboard or on my background already. So this is just a way to pull your subject or whatever you're doing out of your background a bit. So that being done, I'm just going to readjust the shadow. I'm going to mess around with the blend mode. Let me try back in. Okay, so let me just leave it on normal, just like so. And then I'm going to hit enter on my keyboard. So we have this for now. Next thing I'm going to do is to do something in a way that this logo is much more prominent or much more visible, as the case may be. So what I'm going to do is to create a new layer by clicking on this icon right here, and then I'm going to pick my brush or hit P on my keyboard, just like so. I'll make sure to leave my foreground color to white. I'm just going to just tap once, just like that, just like so, so that it's much more prominent from afar. You understand? So that being done, let me quickly save this up. So I'll just save this up as social media design, and they are good to go. So next thing I want to do now is to click on this particular background. Remember I said I was going to make it darker, so I'm going to do that now so that everything we have on our background can show properly or can be visible from a certain distance. So what I'm going to do is to click on my bond tool. If you cannot find it, you can right click and you can see other tools right here. So I'll click on the bond tool, and then I'll click on it. It's going to ask me if I want to rasterize there. I'll click on OK. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pay attention to the range. So I'm going to leave it at mid-tones first. I'm just going to paint across it just like so. So it's only affecting the mid-tone of the design or of the background as it were. So that's something for you to take note of. And after that being done, next thing I'm going to do, I might as well still make it darker depending on what I will be adding on this current design. So next thing I'm going to do is to add in a sub copy. Remember I said a social media design comprises of a main copy, a sub copy, and a CTA. So this particular fast easy this particular one right here, which is supposed to be fast and easy payment, is the main copy. So we'll have to have a sub copy, you understand? So let me just leave this like this and then place the and right here. Alright, fast and, or instead of the short form, let me just stick with the regular spelling. Let's see if that works. So balancing in your design as a social media designer is everything, because if you don't balance your text properly, you are going to have issues. Your design is going to look sloppy and all of that. Or let's just do something like this: fast, easy, and secure. It's supposed to be in all caps. Alright, so fast, easy and secure. So I'm just going to crank this up a bit, and then we have this. Alright, so that being done, I'm going to just make a dummy sub copy, something dummy like, you understand? It's not like what I'm currently doing a social media design for a brand. This is just a logo and a name I came up with. It's not really like a known name or a known brand or something. So that being said, I'm just going to click on my text or hit T on my keyboard, and then what I'm going to do is make sure my font is at regular, and I'm going to change this to Garance Pro. So the reason why I stick with simple fonts despite my design still come out perfect and it still pops is because people love something that they can easily read and easily understand. So fonts like this are easy to read and easy to understand. So you don't have to use complicated fonts in order for you to make a design pop. You can just use simple fonts, simple, clean and easy to read fonts, and people just get the message and get out of there. So that's basically how it works. So I'm just going to reduce the size of this. I'm going to just click and drag so that I can bring out the dummy text just like so. I'm going to leave this one at regular. I'm going to reduce the text size again just like so, and then I'm going to go to my properties and mess around with the spacing. So I'm just going to come right here and reduce the spacing so I get my desired results. So this is good enough for me. I'm going to crank up the size of the text again quite a bit, just like this. This is perfect. So what I'm going to do is just click and drag it to alignment just like so. Alright, so this has been done and everything being said, another thing to take note of is to make sure all your elements are aligned to one place or are aligned properly. You don't want your elements looking sloppy as a designer, especially when you're working for a company or probably you're working as a freelancer, depending on what the case might be. So you have to ensure that all your stuffs are well in order, just like so. Alright, this is good. So the next thing I'm going to do is to import the picture before I proceed with call to action, which is the CTA. So I'm just going to import the picture into Photoshop and have it cut out from the background, and then have a little touch to it before we proceed. So this is the picture right here. I'm just going to come to my quick selection tool, click on that, and then I'm just going to click on select subject. So what this help me does is that it helps me identify the subject from the background. So Photoshop has this algorithm whereby you can just click on this select subject and it automatically selects the subject for you. And something to take note of, this works best when the image is very clean and when the image is very sharp. So if you're having an image that is looking somewhat of blurry, it might not really do a good job or a great job with selecting your subject. So you might have some of the part of your subject selected and some parts will not actually be selected, so you have to do that manually by yourself if that happens. So in the case of where that doesn't happen, you can just click on select subjects and then go ahead to the next thing, which I'm going to show you right about now after this stuff loads up. So we don't know why it's taking time, probably because of the fact that I'm also rendering something with my laptop. So we're just going to wait for it to load up. Alright, just loaded up. So next thing I'm going to do to take away the background is just to come right here and click on add layer mask, and it automatically hides the background for me. So I'm just going to do is to just scale this up just like so. Scale this up again, and then I'm going to right click and flip to horizontal just like this. I'm going to bring it down just like this. Alright, so this is perfect. and the fact that the picture is overlapping on my main copy is actually intentional, because that's what I'm going for. That's the imagination I have going on in my head. So what I can basically do is to reduce this, make this smaller quite a bit, depending on the amount of text or the amount of subcopy I might have going on my design. You understand? So what I can do is simply reduce this, or just double click, and then instead of making it smaller, I can just use this like this, so that every other thing falls in the other lines, just like that, and then I can click on enter. So we have that already sorted out. So what I'm going to do, if you were to zoom in our picture we just cut out, you can see that we're having some white lines on the picture that I don't want. So what I'm going to do is click on this particular layer that we just created, and then I'm going to go to filter, I'm going to go to order, I'm going to go to minimum. So what this does is help you take away those edges that are not necessary or that you don't want selected amongst your design. And I love to keep this around 1.2 or 1.3, at least at the maximum of 1.5. So after doing that, I can just leave this at 1.4, and I'm just on 1.5, and then click on OK, just like that. So you can see that the lines has disappeared, just like so. So you can actually use that to fix lines that you don't want in your design when you cut out an image from the background. So that being said, next thing I'm going to do is to add in add in the call to action. So I'm just going to make a rectangle real quick, just like this, and then I'm going to hide this color and make the full color to be this blue right here. So I'm just going to click and drag, just like so. And then what I'm going to do next is to actually just mess around with the edges of the rectangle. So I'm going to click this so that I can opt out of that option, because I don't want whatever I do to affect all the edges of the rectangles. I just want to affect some edges. So what I'm going to do is to click on this, click on this and put it up to an extent, let's say 58, and then the other one I can do the same thing by typing 58, so that I have something like this. So I have something like this on my design. So that being done, next I'm going to do is, I love a little bit of control when I'm working with ingredients, so what I want to do right now is to add in a little bit of color variation from this blue, slightly different from the blue. So what I'm going to do is to just create a new layer, because I want to have a little bit of control over what I want to do at the moment. So what I'm going to do is create a new layer. I'm going to click on this foreground color, and then I'm going to click on this to sample this color, and then I'm just going to come right here to sample something lighter, click on OK, and then what I'm going to do is pick the brush tool, and I just click like this, or I can make this bigger and click like this. So what I'm going to do is clip it to this very particular rectangle by hitting alternate and clicking in between the two layers, so that this can be so as you can see, it has been clipped to just the rectangle alone, so it's no longer spilling on other places of my artboard. So that's just something for you to note. And then next thing I'm going to do right here now is to add in the call to action. So a call to action can be a phone number or a website or whatever the case may be. So I'm just going to go ahead and create a dummy website, or just write out a dummy website that doesn't actually exist. I'm going to leave the color white. I'm going to make sure this one is not clipped to the rectangle, because I don't want that. So I'm going to shift it out and then unclip it, just like that. And I'm going to come here and write something like, let's say www.prolancer.ng, just like that. And I'm going to drag it onto this particular place right here, just like so. And then next I'm going to do is repeat the same thing, maybe phone number or contact. So I'm just going to write, let's say, just going to do something like this, +234 810 00, sorry, okay, yeah, 00, because of course it's a dummy number, so it could just be anything random. Then I have this, then I have this, just like that. And then I can place this like this. So I'll just zoom in to see what I'm doing properly. So, you know, for everything to be properly aligned, just like this. So this being done, next I'm going to do is, okay, next I'm going to do is, first of all, bring this down, just like so, and I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to duplicate this right here, sorry, or just hit Ctrl J on my keyboard to duplicate. So I'm going to take this up, and I'm going to write something like visits or call us at, sorry, call us at, just like so. And then I'm going to make this quite bold by double clicking, and I'll choose bold so I can create a variation in my text, just like that. So we have that right there. So I'm going to zoom out to see what I have. And next thing I'm going to do is to add in this particular icon right here, you know, just to let people know it's an icon that symbolizes verification, you know, trying to let people know that, okay, what we offer, which is fast, easy and secure services, you know, is verified, is something you can trust. Understand? So one thing when you're working on social media design to note is that your main copy actually drives the entire design concept you're going to be working on. So you can actually derive a design concept from your main copy. You understand? So that's something for you to know. So what I'm going to do is to pick my eraser tool. I'm going to right click and pick the magic eraser tool just to remove this background real quick. So I'm going to click, it's going to ask me if I want to rasterize it. I'll click on OK, and then I'll just tap, and then the background will be gone. So I'll pick my move tool and then make this smaller, just like so, and I'll just place this right here, and I'll mess around with the perspective by holding down Control and then play with any of the anchor points. So I'm just going to mess around with this quite a bit. So, no. Alright, so this is what we have currently. I'm going to add in a little bit of shadow. So I'm going to double click on this, and then I'm going to, you know, click on drop shadow, and then I'm going to make sure it has a realism, not just, you know, leaving the shadows just sit right there looking all fake and all of that. So I'm going to do this like this, and then I'm going to drop the opacity quite a bit. I'm going to reduce the spread to 0, just like this, and then I'm going to click on OK. So another thing I can do to draw attention to this particular call to action is to add a glow to it. So I'm just going to double click on the particular rectangle, and then I'm going to just mess around with it. Let's just see how it's going to sit. So I'm going to add the up and afterglow. I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to select the glow color to be this. I'm going to click on OK. I'm going to mess around with the size, just like so. And then let's see with the spread. Let's see what we got. Okay, that's too much. That's to elaborate. So mess around with the opacity. So I think this is good. So I'm just going to click on OK. So just these are little things that make your design pop and give your design a good look. So this being done and all this being said, we're not done yet, although we're almost done. So what I'm going to do is to right click on this particular image and convert it to a smart object, just like so that we can actually work on this image and retouch it a bit. So what I'm going to do right now is to go to filter and then go to camera raw filter. So this is right here, or this place right here is where you can actually create something. This is where you can actually edit your picture that you're going to be using for any design, as regards be it a social media design, an event design, or whatever design, as long as it's going to be involving pictures. This is where you can actually edit the pictures, which is called camera raw filter. So what I'll do is I have a preset that I actually bought. I got it to a lot of money, so it's not actually a free preset. Well, I mean, it could just give you an idea of something to mimic, and then you can just be fine with it. So I'm just going to load up the presets on the particular image and then do some touches to it. Of course, you're going to see touches I'm going to do to the image. So first thing first, I'm going to keep the exposure quite a bit, and then I'm going to crank up my texture. I'm going to crank this up quite a bit, of a lot. I'm going to crank up the clarity, and then what I'm going to do is to let me play with the temperature and see what I got. So I don't like the temperature, so I'm just going to undo that. The next thing I'm going to do, sorry. So the next thing I'm going to do is to reduce the yellowish feel on our body quite a bit. So I'm just going to mess around with the black and see what I have. Okay, I think I actually like this. So what I'm going to do now is click on OK, and it's going to load up on my artboard the changes I've done to the picture. So you can see the difference it has given my picture, or it has given to this particular design. So what I can do next is to add in a little bit of shadow. So these are little things that you can do to give more life to your design, or to give more life to your design. It doesn't have to be something really technical. Just little touches here and there, and you're good to go. So I'm just going to bring this right here, place this like this, just place this here, so I achieve something realistic and not something fake looking. So I'm going to cue the opacity like this. So I think this is okay. Then I'm going to click on OK. Then we have this all done and all set. So these are you can actually get a social media design done. And just a little touch to it for us to balance up the colors with our background. Right now the background is looking like something that's quite dark and our picture is looking bright. So in order for you to balance up that, what you can do is come here and create a new layer, and then what I want to do is pick my brush tool, then click on my foreground color, and I'm just going to come like here, select a color from the skin tone, just like that, just like this. So I'm going to click on OK. So what I want to do now is make my brush size bigger quite a bit, and just click at anywhere in my design, just like this. I'm going to click on this place just like this. No, that's too much. So I'm just going to try to mimic something that can actually give my design a balance. So that's what I'm trying to do. So nothing really elaborate. You don't really need to go crazy about it. You just need to do something subtle and you're good to go. So I'm just going to click right here. So we have something as light as this. So I can do it to duplicate this to see the effect I can get, and I'm just going to zoom in and see what we have. So basically this is what we have, and it looks good, it looks simple, it looks direct. You can actually see these, read this, and get straight to the point. So that'll be all for this tutorial. Do it to leave your questions for me in whatever platform this might be uploaded on. So and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye for now.